Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nataya and this is Nasthetics, where I talk about topics that I care about and you should care about too if you choose. Today I am giving my season 1 review of The Proud Family Louder and Prouder. When the series first aired earlier in this year, I gave my initial review of the first couple of episodes, and I will link that in the description box and also above in the cards. But today I'm giving my full review of the series now that it is all done and we have 10 episodes. I'm going to give my full review. So just like the last video, I did my likes and dislikes. I'm going to start with my dislikes and critiques again and then end on my likes so we can end on a positive note. So I will say that I still don't really like this show very much. It's not a bad show. I just think that the show is not for me. Of course, like, I'm in my 20s. I am not the target audience for this show. So I think that I just don't really like the show that much, and the way that I knew that I really didn't like the show that much is because I wanted to rewatch the season for the purpose of doing this video, but I found it very hard to want to watch the season over again because the episodes just don't feel like they have that rewatchability like the original. So if I can't watch a series over again, or I feel like, oh, I don't want to watch those episodes again, that means that I really don't like the show that much. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad show, but it just means for me personally that I don't like the show that much. I just found it very hard to try to force myself to rewatch the entire season over again because I truly did not want to, and I knew that I would basically be forcing myself to watch it. So I only rewatched the episodes that I thought were my favorite, which I'll get to later on in this video. Now moving on to my other dislikes, of course, we talk a lot about Dejanay and all the problems with her character. I still don't like her character. Throughout this series, she was really just the gossip girl, and I really didn't like, especially in episode 4, Father Figures. Dejanay was the one that told the entire school about Maya and KG's two fathers and also leaked their address to their gumbo party that they were having. Dejanay did all of that, and then Dejanay also in another episode with the homeless teacher, Dejanay told the school or the principal about the teacher being homeless and got the teacher fired. So I really don't like that Dejanay is still like this gossip girl in this series, and as I always say, and as everyone has been saying, we need more from Dejanay. We need more depth from Dejanay, and I'm still not getting it from her, and I don't know if we'll ever get it, to be honest, but let's still hope that we get a little bit more from Dejanay in the future. But at the same time, I do understand that with any show there has to be some type of conflict. So Dejanay, I feel like there is the one who provides the conflict for the show, because without conflict there is no storyline. There has to be conflict within a storyline within any TV series, and unfortunately Dejanay has always been the one to provide that conflict. Speaking more about Penny's other friends, I don't feel like Dejanay is a good friend for Penny, and then also La Cienega and Maya, I feel like they aren't good friends for Penny. La Cienega has always had that shadiness towards Penny since the very first episode of the original series when they had that cheerleading tryout situation. Like, La Cienega has always had it out for Penny, and we don't even know why. But Penny's friends are just terrible. Like, Penny has terrible friends. La Cienega, she was trying to steal Penny's man because, you know, Penny has a boyfriend now, and I don't like how, like, La Cienega was trying to steal her man, or like purposely doing that knowing that that is Penny's boyfriend. Someone in the previous video commented how Maya sided with La Cienega when La Cienega was trying to steal Penny's man. Like, I don't understand, like, why Maya would side with La Cienega and why Maya didn't give Penny a chance and is not really a friend towards Penny. Like, she don't even know Penny. Like, why would you side with La Cienega before siding with your own kin? Like, that don't make sense. Like, that don't make sense. I also don't like Sugar Mama's and Oscar's relationship. I know that in the original series they were always butting heads. That's just their relationship that we see. But I feel like, you know, the Proud Family Louder and Prouder, it made it more intense. Like, with their relationship, it just seemed like they were a lot louder. It just felt like Sugar Mama and Oscar were always yelling at each other a lot more, and it just sounded a lot louder. And I guess that's why it's called Louder and Prouder. But I also don't like how Oscar is also always the butt of the joke. And like, in some episodes in the original series, we did see that Oscar and Sugar Mama could get along. It was very rare moments, but I wish we would have saw more of those moments in this new series, because we really didn't see that at all. We really just saw Oscar and Sugar Mama at each other the entire series, and we didn't see any loving and compassion from Sugar Mama to Oscar. And we already know that Sugar Mama favors Uncle Bobby more than she favors Oscar. And going off of that, I really don't like the way that Oscar is written. Like, in the original, we did see Oscar always getting like thrown around or like falling out of a plane, or, you know, he's always getting injured or something. And same here in this series, it just seems like he's getting injured so much, and he's always the butt of the joke, like I said. And also, I hate how it shows how Oscar is unsuccessful. Like, we've seen his snack business. Everybody say his snacks are nasty, and then he got these monkeys working for him, which is illegal. And we all know that, like, we know Oscar for being an unsuccessful businessman. And I feel like after all this time, like, Oscar don't know that, okay, my snack's nasty, I need to change the recipe, or I need to change something up. Like, I just don't like how they portray Oscar as unsuccessful. And the writing for Oscar is really giving Tyler Perry, because if you ever watch Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry, if you're watching this, I do like your shows and movies, but Tyler Perry, the way that he writes black men, and this is another video that I want to make eventually, the way that he writes black men, he always writes them as like weak. And if you ever watch any Tyler Perry films or shows, the way that he writes black men is like, I remember Charlemagne off of The Breakfast Club was like, dang, Tyler Perry, are black men this bad? It's like, Tyler Perry doesn't always write black men in a positive light. And the way that Oscar is being written here, it's giving Tyler Perry writing. And I want better for Oscar. I want to see him being more successful and not always getting thrown around and not always being the butt of the joke. I also feel like the show is missing depth. So, like with the characters, and I was saying with Dejanay, we're missing depth with her. And then like when the show was about to come on, they were hyping up these new characters, Maya and KG, but we really didn't get that much depth from their characters, except for knowing that they have two fathers, and knowing that Maya is like this activist because she carries around these books by these well-known black authors. I really like the books that Maya read, like I Know Why the Caged Bird Sing, the James Baldwin book, The Fire Next Time, and also Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. I did like seeing, you know, that, and seeing that she read those kind of books, but we still didn't get that much depth from her character or her brother KG, not from Dejanay. And I wish that more episodes were more character focused. I understand that this is the Proud Family and the show is centered on Penny and her family, but also I feel like there's still a way that they could center the episodes on certain characters while also, you know, still centering it around Penny and the Proud Family. And we saw that with like the father figures episode, when that was centered around Maya and KG's two fathers. We also saw that with La Cienega's Quinceañera episode, where she was where she had her quinceañera, and that was focused around her and her family. So I feel like just with the show Dear White People, if you all have ever seen that show on Netflix, that show would have character episodes where each character will have their own centered episode, but at the end of the day, the season and the series was still focused around the main character, Samantha, and her radio show, Dear White People. So I feel like the Proud Family could do something similar while also keeping the center on Penny and her family. Also, I want to see the characters grow. Like, I don't understand why the characters are still in middle school. Like, Penny has a boyfriend now. La Cienega is 15 now from her quinceañera. These characters need to be in high school, and I feel like if the show was in high school, it would give so many more possibilities for storylines, because high school is a time period where we go through a lot of growing and you get exposed to a lot of things. And you know, you start off high school as a teenager, then you end as an adult. Usually you start off high school at 14 years old, end at 18. So I feel like they need to put them in high school. Like, I don't understand why they're still in middle school. I mean, I feel like I understand from maybe like preserving the show, because if you were to put them in high school, that kind of puts a timeline on the show. If you put them in high school and then they excel each year, they move up another grade, then eventually that means that would put the series on a cap of 4 seasons, because like the first season would be freshman year, second season sophomore year, etc., and then they would have to go to college. So that would be a lot of different writing, and then that will also kind of put a cap on the series. So with keeping them in one grade level, it kind of like makes the show endless. Like, we can continue this show without having to for it to come to an end, because like when you see other shows like you know, A Different World and Grownish, like because they're graduating college, like, okay, what we gonna do, make a show about them after college? Like, it usually doesn't work like that. So I understand maybe why the creators want to keep them in middle school. One, because of the age range and the target audience. I think this show is for 10 and up, and if these characters were in high school, you know, that might attract a different audience, and maybe like the 10-year-olds and the 14 and under wouldn't really watch this show. So I personally would like to see them in high school, and I think since La Cienega did turn 15, like, they need to be in high school. Like, it don't make sense for them to be in 8th grade. Like, go ahead, graduate them and let them go to high school. The last couple of dislikes is that I don't always like the animation. So like, the animation sometimes is very exaggerated to me. So like the very last episode, Old Town Road, with Trudy, she had like these bags under her eyes when she was looking at Sugar Mama's family and trying to look at their ancestry. I did not like the way they did that animation, like the bags under her eyes, and it just looked very exaggerated. And they've done that throughout the series, where the animation is very exaggerated to me, and sometimes I just don't like that. And then the last thing that I don't like about the series is Uncle Bobby. Like, Uncle Bobby's character in the original was so funny to me. Like, his character for me, or to me, provided comic relief. And like when he would bring his mic out and he would sing, and his singing would like rhyme. And I feel like in this series, Uncle Bobby, he is getting more lines, which is nice, but he's not as funny to me, and his character isn't as like when I would see Uncle Bobby in the original series, I'd be like, okay, this is gonna be a funny moment, and like, you know, be happy to see his character come up. But now, like, when I see his character, it's not, I don't know, it's not the same feeling. I just wish that his comic relief would come back. And if y'all remember Uncle Bobby's comic relief, let's take a trip down memory lane real quick to the original series.
I love me some fruitcake, but this smell like the bottom of somebody's boot cake. Whoa, okay. What do you say, bro? You want to invest in our demo? Because in a couple of weeks, we're going to be riding in limos. Ooh. How you doing, mayonnaise?
That's Dijonais.
Maybe so, but that's mayonnaise on your lips, child. Wipe it off.
Now I'm going to move into my likes for this series. I actually liked the last 4 episodes. So the last 4 episodes, I liked all of them. And as I said earlier, I'm going to mention my favorite episodes at the end. With episode 7, I liked seeing them in college. Just as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to see them grow older, so it was nice having this one episode where they were in college and seeing that, and also bringing Roker back, and I liked that episode a lot. I kind of wish they would have sent them to HBCU. Roker did mention HBCUs in that episode, and he mentioned Howard, and he really could have sent them to Howard, even though, you know, La Cienega and Zoe, they are non-black people. There are a lot more non-black people at HBCUs now, especially at HBCU like Howard. It's a lot more diverse. You will see white people and Latinos at Howard. So I really feel like they could have sent them to a HBCU or a fictional HBCU, and I think that would have been cool. But I do like overall that they sent them to college and we got to see them all grown up. And it's kind of coincidental that I was just talking about Dear White People, and the main character, Sam, I cannot remember her real name, but she's the one that voiced Penny in the college episode. So I thought that was cool. Episode 8, I liked that episode too, which was the teacher, Miss Hill, being voiced by Tiffany Haddish. I thought that episode was funny, but also thought that episode was kind of crazy a little bit, just how like Miss Hill, Tiffany Haddish's character, how she just like kind of started running Penny's house when Penny let her come in and stay with them. But overall, I liked that episode, and I thought that was a cool episode. Episode 9 with La Cienega's quinceañera, and then also with her cousin, I think La Bria, coming to visit. It was kind of, I mean, it wasn't nice, but it was kind of nice to see like La Cienega, how she got, you know, gets bullied kind of by her cousin, or she used to, or she was always in competition with her cousin. And it seems like the way that La Bria was treating La Cienega is kind of how La Cienega be treating Penny. So it was kind of nice seeing La Cienega for once get the treatment that she be giving to other people. Not trying to wish no bad on La Cienega or nothing, but I thought that was interesting to see because we never usually see La Cienega like that. So I liked that episode, and I liked how, you know, this show is showing like its diversity and just exploring and showing other cultures. So I really liked that. And then episode 10, I really liked this episode, I think because of my knowledge of Black history and Sugar Mama's family. I feel like if you don't know the Black history, then you probably wouldn't have picked up on this. But Sugar Mama's family is from a Black town in Oklahoma, and not a lot of people know about Black towns. So Black towns are places that African Americans, freed African Americans, they built on their own to escape the horrors of Jim Crow, and they built their own businesses, banks, etc. on this land. And there's a lot of Black towns throughout the US and Canada, but the most Black towns have always been in Oklahoma, and there are some Black towns that are still in existence today. So just imagine like an all Black town where Black people are just all living together, all own their own businesses, schools, churches, etc. And they live there to escape like white supremacy and all of those things. So as you can see in the last episode of The Proud Family, like when they got there, the statue of Sugar Mama's grandfather, he was the founder of that Black town. So there were many Black people that founded Black towns, and now they're like very like small, like they don't have a really big population. So as you can see, like Sugar Mama's family didn't seem like it was a lot of people in that town, and that's how a lot of Black towns are now. They're just very rural, and it's not a lot of people in them anymore. But I really liked how this show, it gave us that history. Like, even though it didn't explicitly say like Black towns, but just because I know about Black towns, I thought that was really interesting to see for me, and I liked that. I think that history is very important for people to know, because people don't know about the prosperous like Black history. A lot of people just know about the struggle within Black history, but Black people have been prosperous throughout history and have founded their own towns and built their own businesses and things like that. So I really appreciate The Proud Family for highlighting that in the series, and that episode was a part 1, it said. So I am looking forward to seeing part 2 of that episode in season 2. Overall, I like how this series is teaching viewers about so many things, about so many different cultures, about history. And I also like how in the father figures episode, how Oscar really had to address his bias against LGBTQ plus people. And when he went into the office of one of the fathers to try to get like a loan, and he realized that, you know, he was married to another man, Oscar's eyes kind of cracked. And then by the end of the episode, once his bias went away, his eyes became uncracked and his vision became clear, getting rid of that bias. So I really liked how this series is exploring different topics like that, important topics that need to be talked about. And I like how, you know, it gave reality, because in reality there are a lot of people who are biased when they see people with 2 moms or 2 dads, or with non-gender conforming people or parents. So I like how this series gave a lot of reality to the situation. I'm also happy that the show gave Oscar some things that he was good at. As I was saying earlier, Oscar was always the butt of the joke, but in some episodes, you know, we saw Oscar open up his own amusement park and it was successful. We also saw at the last episode that Oscar, he was good at horseback riding, and he was also receiving a lot of love from Sugar Mama's father. And unfortunately, Sugar Mama and her father don't have a good relationship, but Oscar and Sugar Mama's father have a good relationship, which is kind of odd because like Sugar Mama and Oscar don't have a good relationship. Hopefully y'all caught all of that. But yeah, so it was interesting to see like Oscar being loved at the in the last episode by, you know, his new family members that he's just meeting, and also Oscar being good at something. I think that we need to see more of Oscar being good at things and excelling in things. I also like just seeing how the characters are growing up. You know, like I said earlier, Penny has a boyfriend now, but also, as I said, like we need to see them in high school. They need to go ahead and graduate middle school. And even though Dejanay is like the gossip, I do like that Dejanay is less boy crazy. I don't know if that's because Sticky ain't there, but you know, Dejanay has been kind of flirting with KG a little bit in the series, but I like how it's not as extreme as it was with Sticky. Because in the original, it was so extreme. And it wasn't just extreme with Sticky, but it was extreme with like other things too. Like in one episode of the original series, there was a time where Dejanay was flirting with a baby, and that's something that someone mentioned in the comments in the previous video as well. Like Dejanay was just very like boy crazy, and it made her look like very desperate, and I'm not really getting desperate vibes anymore from Dejanay, and I like that she's not that desperate anymore, and she's not very boy crazy, and they didn't make her character as much like that. And I hope they continue to not make her character as much like that, especially if they choose to bring Sticky back into the show. Overall, I do think that the series has good storylines, and I think that it's good writing. I really like how this show puts a lot of Black culture references within the show. Uncle Bobby, in the last episode, he mentioned the Tulsa, he didn't mention the Tulsa Massacre, but he mentioned Black Wall Street, which is a reference to the Tulsa Massacre. And Tulsa is a city in Oklahoma where there was a Black Wall Street where Black people were successful. So I like how they're making Black culture and Black history references. There's also something very little that I caught in the last episode. When Sugar Mama was watching TV, she was watching this show called Crab Barrel, and if you know about like the crabs in a barrel / crab in a bucket mentality that is within the Black community, where Black people are sometimes envious or jealous of other Black people when they see them being successful, so they pull them down. So that's that crabs in a bucket / crabs in a barrel mentality. And I thought it was interesting that Sugar Mama was watching a show called Crab Barrel, because the Black community has that mentality. So I like how there's little references here and there for Black history and culture. I also like the language that they use, the African American vernacular English that is very popular among like so many people within pop culture, and I really like how they incorporate our unique language into the show, because like with the last episode again, Trudy was looking for everybody's ancestry lines through the Where My People At app, and now that's how Black people, that's how we refer to things, like where my people at. But if it was just like regular English, it would be like, where are my people? Or like with I'm going to do this, whereas Black people sometimes say I'm finna do this. Like, it's our own language, and I like how the Proud Family does incorporate our unique language, and it really shows, you know, our culture. I like how this show shows so much of Black culture. Also in that same episode, the last episode, Oscar referred to like his cousins Ray Ray and them, and Black people will be quick to like generalize like other Black families and be like, yeah, Pookie and Ray Ray and them, and I like how they incorporated that as well. And then in the episode Father Figures, and also the last episode too, like clearly the last episode was my favorite episode, but Oscar dressed up in like these Wakandan clothes, and he was dressing up in those clothes in the Father Figures episode to show that, you know, he kinfolk, and he was going into another Black man's office, so he was trying to show him, yeah, like I'm for the culture. So I like just little stuff like that. I just really like the Black culture and Black history references throughout this entire show. So overall, my favorite episodes were Father Figures, Once You Wish Upon a Roker, the one when they went to college, and Old Town Road, and Raging Bully. So that's basically so that was like episode 4, and then like the last few episodes. So I liked about 5 episodes, or 1, 2, 3. No, I liked 4 episodes out of the 10 episode series. So I didn't like, it's not that I did not like the other episodes, they just weren't rewatchable for me. So these 4 episodes that I mentioned, Raging Bully, Old Town Road, Father Figures, and the Roker episodes, I can rewatch those episodes, but the other ones I wouldn't want to rewatch them. So not that they're bad episodes, they're just not rewatchable for me. So overall, I give the series a 7 out of 10. It's not a terrible series, it's not a bad show, it's just that, you know, some episodes I like more than others, and that's going to be for any show. So I am looking forward to season 2. I'm looking forward to the Old Town Road episode part 2, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more they do within this show. Once season 2 comes out, I will be giving another review of the season, so hopefully we see them grow up a little more, or see a little bit more from the characters, see a little bit more depth and all of that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you thought about this series. Did you like it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? You know, what do you all think? Thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.